just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them, you thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
you cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show. This episode, I think 115. If I get it wrong, it'll be right on the actual placard. This is Justin here, one half of the Kings of Pro Wrestling podcast. Meals is away on holiday vacation. We're gonna let him rest. He will be back next week in 2020, well rested, I hope, and ready to talk about these takes with me for yet another year on the A Show. But in his place, I have my homeboy, Marc Cameron, my man MC, El Camaro himself. Marc, what's up? Thank you for doing this with me. So on such a busy day like New Year's Eve.
The smile on my face has got a lot bigger because now that I can pretty much confirm that we are in 2020, that makes us that much closer to Tampa.
Yeah, I can't wait. I wake up every single day and I'm just like, should we get the B&Bs today? Should we do this? What are we going to do? We got to make like our itinerary for WrestleMania weekend before February.
That's a strong, you have to have a whole lot of things in plan and pretty much have to have the mental capacity to know that something is going to screw up when it comes to WrestleMania itineraries, because things are just so out of the ordinary. Things could move away in certain times. Things could change. You have to be really flexible in times like WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of things going on that weekend, wrestling-wise. But you know what I want to do? I want to do like stuff that weekend off of the beaten path. Like maybe like not so much wrestling stuff. Let's see what Tampa got to offer. I want to see what Tampa's got. I've never been.
Oh, like that? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, you see what Tampa got to offer?
Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm feeling sturdy in Tampa.
Okay. Nah. Your legwork's not gonna be sturdy in Tampa. If your legwork is sturdy in Tampa, like how that Gotti video was, this is gonna be a legendary. It's gonna be a legendary weekend.
So of course we were talking about WrestleMania weekend, which is coming up in April of next year in 2020. We're recording this on New Year's Eve, so you'll be getting the first episode of the A Show of 2020 on New Year's Day, which is kind of crazy. Like if we had still been doing the same Thursday scheduling, we probably would have been a couple of days off, or we might not have even done it this week. I don't know, but we're sticking to the schedule here. Not a lot of news in terms of just wrestling stuff this week. I mean, it's pretty much all hands have been kind of not on deck. Everyone's been kind of chilling out. Other than one title change we'll get to a little bit later, not much has gone on. Of course, AEW didn't air last week, and NXT was what was that? Was that your phone? It was a large dinging sound I heard.
Oh, sorry. That was this Tampa area that it just gave me the confirm that they heard your legs sturdy. So I'm just giving them the notion that things are about to go down. Please prepare for us.
That was the emergency.
Yes, exactly. As soon as I heard it, I had to send a quick message like, "Oh shit, it's going down." We're gonna get to all the, I guess, 2 or 3 news items, and we're gonna integrate that this week into our main wrestling portion where we review the shows. What I wanted to get into this week in this very short, kind of protracted episode is wrestling resolutions for next year. Marc, do you have any wrestling resolutions that you want to that you kind of, things that you want to accomplish, things you want to do? Because like I know that you were going through was it 2003, 2004 this year? Did you finish that? So my rewatching on WWE Network, what I wanted to try and accomplish
I didn't really have a set timetable on it. It was just gradual as I continued to enjoy WWE Network. I wanted to watch everything from the beginning of, where did I start? I want to say I started at the Raw after Survivor Series 1997. So you have the infamous promo of Vince McMahon stating that everything was saying your prayers and eating your vitamins very passe, and that pretty much starts the promo that begins the Attitude Era. I wanted to start from there all the way until I actually ended up watching wrestling again, which was around that June 2011 time, around Money in the Bank 2011, which of course involved CM Punk and John Cena for the WWE Championship. I'm 3 weeks away from WrestleMania 19. So I am in February 2003. No Way Out 2003 just ended. Austin had returned from completely leaving, just whipped Bischoff's ass. You have the screw job between Rock and Hogan, and Vince McMahon is beating his chest and showing actual pay-per-view footage on SmackDown. It's completely hilarious. But that is where I am as of right now. So all of the different matches that they're going to set up towards WrestleMania 19 is where I'm going to be watching.
Yeah, well, I mean, are you going to continue it, or do you think you're going to finish? I want you to watch old ECW, WWE ECW.
Oh, WWE ECW. So the one thing that I am very excited for is I know late 2004 is when they bring out the ECW DVD, right? Fall and Rise of ECW or something of that nature. And
Rise and Fall.
Yeah, Rise and Fall of ECW. And that is what sparks all of the interest and the nostalgia of fans wanting more ECW. And that is pretty much the jump pad to One Night Stand in 2005. That is what I am very excited to see, because growing up, I did not have the ability to watch ECW at the time that it was on. It was mainly WCW and WWE. But the amount of negativity that I know is going to sit in those footage, in that footage of WWE ECW, I've already heard the Bruce Pritchard podcast on it. It seems like it's something that I am just going to have in the background as I quickly look to continue watching more Raw and more SmackDown.
Yeah, me and Cyrus on Spot Callers last week for Christmas, we watched December to Dismember, and did not age well. I did watch the 3 weeks, or not even 3 weeks, like the month leading up to it. It was some rough television to get through, I will say.
Deemed as one of the worst pay-per-views of all time, right?
Yes, one of the worst pay-per-views. I'd say it's still up there, probably in the top 10. I can't say that it's number one. I think there are some pay-per-views this year that kind of probably fell into that. I think Hell in a Cell 2019. Hell in a Cell 2019 was pretty bad, but I think what saves it from being maybe top 5 is that Sasha Becky match. But I mean, the Fiend Seth Rollins match was just it was definitely up there with one of the worst matches.
Yeah, at least you have things that are salvageable, but you end the Fiend and Seth Rollins just staring at your screen like, bro. It is really difficult to try and see things being red hot and things just end up falling in an area that, how can I explain it? I try and get into a mind. It's really mind. I try and get into a mindset where I don't want to be the guy that sits at home and books everything. I have found a lot of interest, and it's helped me continue to watch things week by week when it comes to WWE, because that is the main amount of wrestling that I do watch. It helps me enjoy a lot more of the product when you're not trying to overanalyze a lot of different things and book it specifically. But when it came to Fiend and Seth Rollins, I was just like, there's so many different ways you could have disqualified Seth Rollins or something of that nature, where maybe Seth keeps the belt and you don't necessarily do something with the Fiend. If you did want to go down that route, sure. Didn't have to do it in the fashion that they did.
Yeah, and that kind of brings up a kind of like an issue here that I guess we'll get to when we talk about Raw, about fandom in this decade of wrestling definitely changing, where it was like you're way more vocal. And you're way more noticed, I guess. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of seen a lot more now, where it's like your complaints they're signal boosted to the world.
Absolutely.
And it makes it really, really tough to kind of come up with your own opinions on certain things. Like it's really hard to kind of stand your ground because people will literally try and kill you off if you like something that other people don't like, whether it be AEW, whether it be WWE. It's on both sides. It's gotten really toxic, and me and Mills have talked about that a lot this year alone. How toxic it's gotten. Like I got nominated for the wrestling, like last year at Wrestling Twitter Awards. Me and Mills were like top of the pops. Like we were just like literally the best. Best podcast nomination. All of that. This year, I got worst account.
It's like asshole of the year or something like that.
It was like worst account. So it was. I forgot the other one was. I don't know if I won. I don't know who's announcing this. I don't know what person's gonna announce the winners. But yeah, I don't know if I won. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's how it is. Like that whole award thing. Every nominee was like somebody that group of people didn't like. So it's like it shows like in 12 months you can completely fall out of favor with somebody just off of your opinion, off of the way that you present yourself. Instead, it's like I don't bother anybody, right? But it's like if you don't want to condemn Jordan Miles and be on his side, you're automatically like, oh, this is you're a bootlicker. So
you're being put in a certain area. You're not down for the culture, and it becomes areas that are pretty difficult to try and have honest conversations in. And luckily, in that case, with Jordan Miles, that thing ended up snitching on itself, where people quickly moved their way out of that black and white photographs and going too crazy with that as more information came onto that story. It's completely understood that people want to have the notion, and depending on which way that you want to look at it from a certain perspective, people want to make sure that people of our experience, people of our color are being well represented, and that's fully understood. Does that necessarily mean that you will blindly jump on a certain area and discuss things in a negative manner and say, well, you know what? For everything that Triple H did, everything that Vince did, and just completely go on the strong side of that when you don't really have all the facts? That is where things get difficult in having conversations.
It got wild. It got really, really wild. And like you said, it snitched on itself. And so like that actually brings me to my one resolution. And that is, I will continue. I will continue to speak my truth next year. I'll continue to say how I feel, and I'll continue to do that regardless of what people think about me and what people think about what I'm saying. I think that it's only right.
So all those Kenny Omega fans are going to continue to be pissed off in 2020, is what you're saying?
They can be from the UK. All of them from the UK. Very special. So I mean, that's all I can do. I think, my biggest resolution, I want to watch more. I kind of fell off New Japan this year. I felt like they weren't really exciting me. I'll see after Wrestle Kingdom next weekend how that looks. I wanted to run the card down. I know that I wanted to have Cyrus on the show today so we could talk about the card. He had something come up. But Wrestle Kingdom is next weekend. I think that'll be my actually no, it's this weekend. Wow, what am I talking about? It's this weekend. I'll be watching it, and hopefully that's another launching pad into me being a fan of New Japan again. Because I felt like this year there weren't a lot of alternatives for me. Because New Japan, I was bored with it, so I was literally having to watch WWE or nothing at all. AEW, I watch it sparingly. I kind of like fell off of it again because the weekly show isn't grabbing me at all. I want to get back into watching more indies as well, whatever indies are left. But I want to watch them more.
And yeah, I think that's fair. And having the conversation on that is something that always makes these type of conversations for this a lot more grand. Like you said, the thing with social media in 2020 can be a true gift and a curse when you start discussing voices having a lot more of an easier ability to be broadcasted and heard compared to when we were growing up on forums. Like the complaints, the ideas that we had when we were teenagers online, and things being solidified in the forum is a lot different right now than things are when somebody can grab an Instagram, somebody can grab a Twitter and literally broadcast on a website, and now you see thousands of people reading it in an area where you were just like maybe sharing your own ideas, sharing your own thoughts, and did not expect certain things to be this way. So as much as I don't want to jump into a mindset where it's like, social media can be this certain type of thing. There's definitely blessings that could come from this, but in areas where social media creates a lot of toxic and difficult conversations to be had, because of course fandom plays a lot of factors into conversations like these. That's where things get difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as we get into Raw, we'll be talking more about that. But you watched Raw. Did you watch SmackDown? I want to kind of run through SmackDown really, really quick.
So Friday night, I caught SmackDown. The reason that I don't catch too many Raws is because usually that is when we are handling everything with the RSPN. But Raw was caught this week, and Friday night SmackDown is usually my weekly entertainment of WWE.
Now, how do you feel about SmackDown and their women's division going into 2020? Like, the SmackDown was very intense on the women on Friday. I have to say there were more segments with them than a lot of the men. It was a holiday themed episode also of SmackDown as well, but it was definitely a lot different than what we've seen so far from the show, where it's kind of like the women get like a couple seconds. Now it was kind of like, okay, the match time wasn't as much, but they still got a lot of things, like a thread of story going throughout the show.
Exactly. And the one complaint that I have seen this past week is relating to Bayley and buying into her character of being this badass type of heel that is completely done with entertaining parents, children, and things like that, and being the strong SmackDown Women's Champion. I think the statistic came out this week that she is the longest running SmackDown Women's Champion based on her 2 title reigns, and that is something that has been really nice. I am buying into the character of Bayley being SmackDown Women's Champion, and that is something that I'm not tired of as of yet. You do have Sasha Banks on the side of her as well, and with that, those two have been dealing with, of course, Lacey Evans, who is now face. I kind of like face Lacey.
I do too, and I think that it's insane that people are like not feeling her as a baby face. I think she's again, like I said, the gimmick stops her from doing a lot of things. Like the gimmick is very hokey. Not gonna lie, it is. But I think as a face, it works better. And as a parent, having her be like the concerned and protective parent is a really good role for her. I'm glad that they integrated that to get her over quickly as a face, because I mean, as a heel, she's done everything this year. She got beat by Becky like a drum.
Like a million times. They added Baron Corbin to it. She got her ass whipped again.
Like, how can we believe? We can't believe her as a heel. She's been beaten so many times. It's not like a Baron Corbin type thing where he can lose and he can still be where he is and still be hated. Like, Lacey was losing steam, and I think making her a baby face definitely worked. But with Bayley, I think that where Lacey has authenticity as a face because of the parent, her being a parent and being a daughter. And be clear, Mark, it's very hard to be a baby face, especially in these times. It's just tough.
Yeah, because it's difficult, because it'll be cool for like 2-3 weeks. People will be like, yeah, really into it. And then you start getting into things that come with being a babyface. Like maybe you win 2 or 3 matches in a row within the past week. And then people just get, I'm kind of tired of Lacey Evans already. Maybe we can switch it over to something different. And then there's another shiny new toy.
Exactly. And so I time will tell if Lacey can keep that up, throughout the next year. But I mean, like they have a lot of faith in her, and I think that it's cool that they've had so much faith in her. But where on the other end, Bayley, I think she needs a lot more authenticity as a heel, and I think that she needs to do something really, really like, I don't want to say like murderous, like
send somebody to God. You need Bayley to send somebody to God.
Like, I don't want her to slap a kid or something. I just need her to do something that would, I think, really put her in that upper echelon of heels. And that one thing to me, and I think it'll probably happen next year, or at least I hope that will happen, is for her to turn on Sasha.
And then Sasha becomes face, again, and that will be your battle for SmackDown Women's Championship?
Yeah, well, I mean, Sasha doesn't necessarily have to become a face. She could be a tweener. She could be like a Shades of Grey heel face. She faces anybody. Like, yeah. I think that's a cool look for her. I think that's where it works. I don't want her to lose that edge she has. I just think that they've been linked for so long without actually being against each other, and I just want I want the NXT Brooklyn vibes back with those two.
And they even flirted with it this past year, around the time when they were the women's tag team champions. And then what did Bayley say? You ain't shit or something like that when she whooped Sasha Banks' ass. But then that ended up getting dropped. You have what had happened with Sasha Banks after WrestleMania, and you don't see her for a little bit of time. And with that, Bayley starts going solo and gets her first win of the SmackDown Women's Championship. And from that, you have Sasha Banks returning after that, and it has taken so much asking and just waiting for Sasha Banks to get out of that type of face different style and actually turn heel. So having that tweener area of Sasha will be nice. At least it won't be completely full face, because we've taken so long to try and get Sasha Banks back to that badass type of NXT heel that she was around that time. Bayley, I truly don't know what Bayley would have to do to try if you want to really work on Bayley convincing you that she is as bad as she says she is. I am not positive, because it is what was almost 7 years of being that character. We even refer to it as like almost being like the female John Cena at a certain area. Now she didn't really have the success as John Cena had in between that reign, because she had her rough patches and she had her losses. But that type of face was supposed to be that strong, really powerful type of face. And that ended up rubbing people the wrong way. And now we have the Bayley that we currently have as of right now. But to convince me, I don't really think I truly need a lot more convincing. But for everybody that is not really bought in on it,
she needs a better opponent. I think Sasha Lacey works better to me than Bayley Lacey. I think Bayley needs a big program, man. Really,
it would truly help for the SmackDown Women's Championship, at least, because within these next few months, the Raw Women's Championship is going to have some really nice storylines set aside from it. But I want to see what happens with the SmackDown Women's Championship when it comes to that, because I don't really see Lacey winning it. Again, I like the character of being almost like, if they want to go down the road of like Liberty Bell from Glow, completely understand that could be something, maybe not as too deep into that realm, because Lacey Evans still continues to hold a little bit more of a stronger area and a stronger attitude than, say, Liberty Bell did on Glow, of course. But that is something that I wouldn't be too positive about. I like Lacey Evans, but I don't see that working in her area where she ends up beating Bayley for SmackDown Women's Championship.
Exactly. Before we get to like the main thread of the story of SmackDown this week, how did you feel about Braun Strowman dancing?
I thought it was funny.
I thought this killed him, man.
You thought it killed him? You thought it was over?
I was like, man, this dude was getting murdered on TV. He was getting garbage dumpsters launched on him, and he had a scaffolding.
Yeah, getting hit by trucks. Roman ran him over. You think because he got a little hips, it's not going? It was a little hip.
He was a little sturdy.
No, that was not sturdy. If he kept it straight hip, if he kept it like Big E, just full hip, I would have been like, all right. But then he started going into the grabbing his leg and started doing the thing with his head. I'm like, all right, this is a little. If he just kept it sturdy, if he did a little pop smoke leg, if he did a little hip action, he would have been straight.
He was. I don't know. I thought it was. Oh, I thought it was a little cheesy. I don't know. I don't want him to go too far the other way. You know, I don't want him to go too far the other way. That's what I'm worried about.
And start turning into damn Brodus Clay on with it.
Not even Brodus, just being good.
Being goofy.
Yeah, it's being goofy. I mean, I foresee the IC title being his future. Yes, I do. I think Nakamura's had it for way too long.
He was chilling at this one. He's like, y'all want it? You sure? Sammy, want to hold it?
He's had it for way too long. I think it's time for him to drop it. Like Nakamura, never loses, yo. Like he never drops the title. No one ever beats him, and he's barely on TV. So
but then again, that feeds into the thing. Isn't that a good thing? Because the way people tell me online, hey, Nakamura, he's got to beat everybody. He's got to whoop everybody's ass.
And he does, right? He beats everybody, right? Didn't I bring up his win loss a couple weeks ago on Twitter? And it was his win loss is like over like 75% in WWE. Like he's got a pretty crazy win loss record.
And then when he takes a pin in a tag match, it's what are they doing with Shinsuke on SmackDown? What is Fox doing?
But I think we pretty much know what we're gonna get from this guy now, and we're gonna get probably 1 or 2 serviceable matches a year, and that'll be it, right?
I can tell the smile on your face because I know the cadence that comes from being Shinsuke.
Hey,
he's based on our battles in the E, but it'll come. It's able to put it on.
It's gonna work for him. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna work for him, boss. The main story of the night was Daniel Bryan, Baron Corbin, and The Miz having one match 3 times in one night.
At first, Corbin was like, "Yeah, I'm about to do it," and then Roman came and was like, "Oh, wait, no, I'm good, y'all fight." Then they fought, and it was like, all right, let's do it again. My bad.
I really felt for Miz because I know he was winded. He never had to work this much in his life. Ever.
You'll hold me down real quick.
Like, dang, let me just chill in the back. Baron actually gets to lead. Like, he is out of the second. Well, okay, here, let's just kind of run down what happens here. At the beginning of the show, the match is supposed to happen. Baron cuts a promo on Bryan. Doesn't happen because Roman comes out to attack them. Baron says he's not going to compete. Then Bryan and Miz have the match. And that gets interrupted by Baron's, I guess, security guards. And then when he finds out that Roman's not in the building anymore, he says, okay, let's do it in the main event.
Let's run it.
After Bryan.
Everybody already has a red chest. Miz's skull is orange. Daniel's got the brown chest, yellow legs. And he's like, let's run it. I got green bar.
They done did their signature moves already.
Yeah, he wasted their finishers.
Like, Jesus Christ, right? So we get to the number 1 contenders match, which I thought was phenomenal. I really, really like this. It's really fun. I thought it went about 20 minutes. It was essentially a Bryan and Miz match because Roman comes out midway through and takes Corbin out the match. So Corbin didn't even really get to work the whole thing. He probably did like 1 end of days and that was it.
And I'm sure people were 100% pissed. Like, damn, you have this big ass heel in Baron Corbin. He's not even working. And then that makes it even 10 times worse. And then, you start buying more into that heel character.
Yeah, I liked it. I really do like that that Roman has to earn this win. I think that like the way they're booking that in this storyline, like Baron or hate them, it's better than when Roman was just beating dudes in 1 month and then beating them again and then moving on. It's like this is the most protracted kind of like storyline and rivalry he's had, and I think it's making Baron look good. I don't know how much he's doing for Roman. I really just want to see him in the title picture again, but it's doing wonders for Baron as far as being hated. Like he's probably the most hated heel in the biz right now. But Daniel Bryan wins. And he will face the Fiend at Royal Rumble. And this is the original Daniel Bryan. This is bald head, nothing on the tights. Yes, movement back Daniel Bryan. I have to say I'm very much enjoying the throwback to this style. And you know what else that I noticed? It's not a really intense physical style that he's doing either. He's back to the wrestling holds and stuff like that. And I think that's a really nice touch.
Yeah, it's something that people want to see a whole lot of from Daniel Bryan. It's been a really long time since we have dealt with him, of course, coming back from retirement and dealing with all that. You had his WWE Championship run. You had his matches with Kofi Kingston and all that it came. And he had the SmackDown Tag Team Championships with him at that point in time. But people want... It's a really quick nostalgia pop that you can get from Daniel Bryan because a lot of people just remember so many good memories and good things that came from that specific period and would love to see that happen a lot more now that Daniel Bryan is 100% with all of his health again. So you'll see it against The Fiend. I don't know how well of a match that they'll be able to put on. I would like to see an amazing match between Daniel Bryan and The Fiend, a lot more different than the one that they previously had beforehand. But it's something I'm going to look forward to.
Yeah. Who do you think, Brian? We know he's going to get clapped at Royal Rumble. Let's just be clear. Who do you think he's got for WrestleMania? Just pie in the sky, 5 months out. Who do you think he's going to get? they always give him something special, either with a part-timer or someone that we wouldn't expect. Like, if I was to say anyone that he'd get, I would want it to be HBK.
Dude, they flirted with AJ and Shawn Michaels, and then that didn't happen.
Right.
Flirted with Daniel Bryan and Shawn Michaels, that also didn't happen. I don't know what would take Shawn Michaels to get off that, to move away from Orlando, to get out of Orlando for a little bit.
What about Edge?
Edge would be nice, but I feel like Edge batted down those rumors recently, right? He said
he has to.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. I mean, he can't be like, yeah, guys, I'm coming back in March. Yeah, that's true.
Just like Derrick Rose said, you see the money they handed out? You see the money they handed out? I can't be on the sideline.
I mean, yeah, he might risk it for a night. A WrestleMania?
Well, he would be working with Brian, who technically would protect him the best way possible,
and will know how to protect that neck more than I'm sure a lot of others will.
Yeah, exactly. So it's either that or Undertaker.
Long sigh. Well, what I want Daniel Undertaker. What's Undertaker going to? Because he's going to see Daniel and say what? I don't know. I don't know about Taker. I'd love for a Daniel Shawn. Let's start discussing everything from Daniel, learning from that Shawn Michaels Academy, and start having things like that. Shawn can get into a little bit of a, not necessarily a huge heel, but can get a little bit into that bag. Yeah,
they're in Tampa, man. Like that. I mean, that's a couple minutes.
It's just down the street, Shawn. Come on now.
Pull up now.
What if Triple H is just like, hey, can you just meet me out here for like an hour? Yeah, come on. I got some of that. I'm gonna blindfold you though. And then he just takes off the blindfold. It's like, what the hell? You brought me out to Mania?
I mean, they're both bald, so I mean, they work. Now. Before we leave SmackDown, how do you feel about the Otis, Mandy, Sonya, Dolph Ziggler thing going on? He put his. I like when he stepped on the cake and said, "These are Jordans, by the way." And I said, "Wow."
I was like, "He's green." I was like, "These are damn Jordan 48s." You talking about these are Jordans? He ain't got no damn threes on.
That was SmackDown. A pretty enjoyable show, I thought. Very low stakes. I think they set things into motion for Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, between SmackDown and not between SmackDown, actually before SmackDown and onto Raw, Andrade beat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title in Madison Square Garden. Huge moment for Andrade, and congratulations to him. What a year he's had. And just going into 2020, he's at where we always wanted him to be, right? Like he's holding a title and he's holding Raw's biggest title. Remember that, because Brock is on the show.
Yeah, we're not seeing Brock. And thank God this happened, because I started getting a little bit worried that there was going to be a breakup between Selena and Andrade, based on what had happened on last month's pay-per-view.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm glad that we saw this happen. So that actually fuels into what happens on Raw. Of course, we'd be remiss to talk about Raw without talking about the wedding. So let's kind of speed through it so we can talk about the main event of the show. A lot of things are happening here. Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, they seem to be properly aligned at this point against Seth Rollins and the AOP. I think we're just waiting for Rey Mysterio to get involved and make this a three-way tag type situation, right?
That would be interesting. That'd be interesting if he wants to get out of the way of the United States title picture. Rey Mysterio jumping into that and joining Kevin Owens, and a face Samoa Joe that I have enjoyed a whole lot, not only in commentary but definitely that first night as he's trying to back up Kevin Owens fighting Seth Rollins in the AOP. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I really like the opening segment that happened on Raw between Joe and Kevin Owens and Seth and the AOP. They need a name already, because I just think they need a stable name. But I like the pull apart brawl. I'm a sucker for a good pull apart brawl, and I thought they handled this one pretty damn well. I actually think that this is actually making Seth a lot more disliked and a lot better heel, but also the people are feeling something for him again, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I ended up liking the situation between last week when they're pressing Samoa Joe and he's like, I can whip both y'all ass, right? And he's just staring, and Seth's like, come on, we don't gotta do this. And then he just turns and he's like, finish him. And then they just completely whoop his ass. I like that Seth, and I think people wanted a lot more of that Seth.
We got to find a way to do that on 2K.
And try and get these storylines on? Yeah, I'm about it.
We gotta find a way to do this on 2K, but that is the only
more tag with that.
Oh yeah, we would absolutely, or like a fatal 4-way, and somebody just takes the loss.
Finish him in a fatal 4-way. Somebody's gonna quit the match. Nah, somebody's gonna be pissed. If that happened to me, specifically, I'm quitting. I'm like, no, y'all not getting this off on me.
Oh my god. So that is the only actual moment that you see these 5 contenders in the show. And I actually like that Raw once again has something for everyone. Everything feels important on this show, even if they don't have a belt. And that's something where I think SmackDown lacks, where it's like you got Nakamura wrapped up with the IC title and he never really defends it. And it doesn't really feel like it's the most important title on the show. Even if Bray's not on the show every week, it still feels as though it's kind of like just kind of there. But here you have the US title as the focal point of the show, where now you have Ricochet stepping into the fold as another contender. Him and Andrade had a pretty great match on the show as well. Went through 2 commercial breaks, went around, I want to say 10, 11 minutes. But I thought it was really good.
I want to see. I'm trying to decide. But when it comes to Ricochet, still very highly entertained. But when does it become something like? In my case, for me, it was something like a Braun Strowman, when I was like, all right, I feel like Braun is really entertaining. I would like to see a belt on Braun Strowman, and you can make the case, he didn't need a belt, but I feel like Ricochet, in certain cases, he's going to need at least some type of gold, right?
Yeah. Like it's, I mean, he's got the US title. A lot of people are saying Ricochet might go against Brock, and I'm just like, I don't think the loss to Andrade actually points you to that at all.
To Brock, yeah,
you just he's not really being built up. And by the way, Brock will be on Raw next week in Oklahoma City, and I guess we'll find out who he's facing. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be anybody right now. I mean, Randy Orton and AJ. Let's talk about that segment for a second. Randy Orton, quote unquote, suffered an injury to his knee in Madison Square Garden, and it was said that on Raw he was going to talk about the medical analysis or examination and what his future would be. He comes out, gives this long-winded promo about he's going to try and be back for WrestleMania. AJ says, "I'm going to be patient and wait for WrestleMania." Then starts picking on Randy, and then Randy says, "You know what? I'm not patient." And then he gave him a loved that fucking. I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it.
I completely bit to not use a pun. I completely bit for this promo because I'm watching Randy sell this. He's got the knee brace on, completely selling everything, and AJ just toying with him, picking with him. And I thought he went for the RKO, still injured. I'm like, Randy, you are such an idiot. How are you going to get back up? And then he gets back up and starts stomping on his knees. I'm like, oh, you sly bastard. Sly bastard.
Yeah, it is. It's really like, again, say what you will about Randy Orton. It's these moments, right? It's these moments that are reasons why he's a fan favorite and why the E had to snatch him up for another 5 years. We all bid on it. I mean, obviously there were reports that it was a storyline, but it was like, where are they going to go with this? Like, what's the angle here? And it's to further AJ and Randy's storyline, which again is off. Again, it's a segment for someone else. Everyone has their own place on Raw, and that's why I really freaking enjoy this show so much, especially in this current iteration that Paul Heyman is, at the helm of. You also saw the Street Profits beat the Good Brothers. And so next week on the first Raw of 2020, you will have the Street Profits versus the Good Brothers versus the Viking Raiders for the Tag Team Championships, which should be a complete banger next Monday. Was there anything else before there was a really long Charlotte and Natalya match that I felt as though was unnecessary.
The promo when she was like, yeah, I know I could come out here and tell y'all I won 10 titles, but let me show y'all why I also won 10 titles. Anybody want to come out and face the 10-time women's champion? Anybody?
People were saying it was going to be Liv.
Liv going to get sent to the Lord. If Liv Morgan came out, people complain about Liv Morgan this week as far as her position. If she came out to face Charlotte, knee gone. You might as well wait another 6 months because that big boot going to send Liv to the Lord, and now you got to wait again.
Oh my god! So yeah, you had like a 15-minute Charlotte Natty match, but you also had the announcement that Becky Asuka 2 is going down in Houston at Royal Rumble in just 3.5-4 weeks on pay-per-view. I can't wait for this match. I love how they're making it very important, and I love how Becky also is making it important to her legacy as champion to defeat the one person she's never beaten before in competition in Asuka, making Asuka really important and feel like a big deal here.
Yeah, and I think that's something that people wanted to see a lot of when it came to Charlotte and Asuka after WrestleMania. After Charlotte and Asuka fought at WrestleMania, and of course Asuka ends up losing her undefeated streak, we would have liked seeing something from Asuka that continues to keep her in that really large realm, but things ended up playing it in different areas, and then later in that year she wins the SmackDown Women's Championship. As of now, she's the women's tag team champion, but still booked very strong with Kairi Sane. And now we have the ability to even call back in areas where she's the only person to beat Becky Lynch, fair and square, completely clean, no type of fugazi on the outside on last year's Royal Rumble. And that is something that has still bothered Becky, as she is damn near checked off everything on her checklist. But the only question that I truly had when it came to Becky, I will ask you, what did you take from her discussing her contract online?
We all know she signed an extension, I think, a couple of months ago, 5 years. But I think that it's very interesting. Let's just ignore that, right? Let's just ignore it. It doesn't matter, okay? We know this is wrestling, kayfabe it, whatever. Mm-hmm. I think this is how we get to Ronda. I think that her request will be she wanted Asuka, she'll beat Asuka. Next, she wants Ronda. If WWE doesn't give her Ronda, she'll leave and she'll walk out. She'll walk with the belt. She'll drop the belt. She'll throw the belt away. She wants Ronda at Mania. I don't see too many. Just look at where we're at right now. Unless they're building up Aleister Black or someone on Raw to be like the big men's challenger for Mania. I'm not sure. I don't see anything bigger this 2020 than Becky Ronda closing the show. I really just don't see anything bigger than that closing the show. That's the match we've been waiting for. We didn't get the one-on-one at Survivor.
Yeah, last year. Yeah, we didn't even get it last year at WrestleMania.
Yeah, we didn't get the one-on-one. They've been saving this, and this is the perfect time. Now the question is she ready? I don't know, but if I feel as though if they're doing this, they're gonna have something drastic come up, and Becky is gonna be the focal point of this show after Royal Rumble, and when she beats Asuka. I would have her beat Asuka. I'd have her survive the Elimination Chamber, and I would have her hold up the company in order to get Ronda, just to lead to that Ronda moment. It also frees up the Royal Rumble for a SmackDown competitor to win, and that competitor, it could be Lacey, it could be Sasha, it could be anyone. I think that they gotta have Ronda Becky. I don't see anything else unless they do Shayna Baszler and Shayna goes after whoever. But I don't know. I don't see anything more than that.
Do you think we even get Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble at all in the match specifically?
Now that would make it even more interesting if she does win the Rumble, because it kind of makes this contract thing seem kind of weird. But knowing the way Heyman writes Raw, we know it's leading somewhere. Even if you just look at the wedding angle, what happens in there had been built up to. If you look at all of Liv's promos leading up to that night or to Monday night, it's leading to somewhere. We just don't know what it is. Now, what would be a really big swerve is if Asuka beat her at Royal Rumble.
If Asuka beats Becky and holds the Women's Tag Team Championships and the Raw Women's Championship as well, that'll be. I mean, I feel like that will make a lot of people happy.
How could the Asuka accounts complain then? I really exactly. I really do think there's an outside chance that they probably use that to say, well, I've done everything. The last thing I want to do is beat Ronda. They don't need the title, to do this match. Ronda doesn't need. It's never been about the title for these two. They just don't like each other, right? Yeah. So just have them do that. Have them go for it without the title, or have Becky lose it at Elimination Chamber and have it be Asuka Charlotte, and then Asuka Charlotte 3 at Mania.
And even if you don't, I'm trying to think of how to incorporate Ronda into this. Unless she interferes and costs Becky the championship. Right.
Ronda or Shayna or both.
Yeah.
All I know is it's about to get lit with Becky. And I think people need to really really tap in with what they about to do. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I hope so. People loved it and that's one of the things that it ends up. I wish I could just pinpoint certain areas where people get. I wish people would specifically themselves pinpoint more of the areas where they get tired with certain things, because it almost flips like a switch. Look at how many positive months that came from the conversation of Becky Lynch as far as being this badass, the female Stone Cold Steve Austin, however which way you'd like to interpret it. And then as soon as WrestleMania happens and she gets both of the championships, and you have the slogan of Becky Two Belts for the next few months up until she loses the belt to Charlotte, things just completely do a 180. And it's like, damn, wasn't this what everybody just wanted like months ago?
Yeah, right. But I mean, and again, like I think me and Mills talked about it last week when we were talking about like worst feuds and stuff like that. It's like a lot of what happened with Becky's feuds and her matches this year didn't have anything to do with her. Like, people were injured. Ronda was gone. You know, people took sabbaticals. People are gone. Like, you know what I'm saying? The shakeup happened. Like, a lot of what people are upset at her for is like, and again, talk about her in-ring, if you will. She's still the hottest thing in the company, regardless of how good she is in ring. It just goes to show how generational she is. Like, she is the hottest. She's the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion of all time. Like, in
front of all the Raw programs, in front of USA, she's definitely the one that is holding it down for the women's division as of right now.
She's the franchise, and I don't think you take that away from her. She's the only woman to hold both titles at the same time. Like, come on, like you can't deny just where she is. And I think, you know, they're preparing to give her something huge. You just don't do the contract thing unless you're like a CM Punk or a, or a Becky Lynch. You know, like that's what you do.
Yeah.
But let's get to this wedding angle.
Let's do it.
Worst thing you've ever seen?
No. Whoever compared this to Katie Vick, please get out.
Yeah, necrophilia has nothing to do with this. So it goes off pretty much the way that we all expected it to. I mean, there was a bunch of special guests that weren't with that kind of were the people that say, you know, if you have anything to say, if you don't want this union to happen, you had those people come out, like Bobby Lashley's first wife, which I guess was like a veiled shot, kayfabe shot at Crystal Marshall, right? Mm-hmm. And then you had Lana's first husband, who got slammed into the ring. I think a lot of it was Lana's delivery, and just Lana's just not a good promo. I think Lana had the opportunity to elevate herself here, and she just did not do it for me as far as promos went. I thought Bobby was actually really great. I thought he was my favorite thing about this.
Yeah, he's falling back. But Lana every week is just the overstated yelling.
Yeah,
the draw now, yelling and being into the microphone, and just doing that every single week and just getting all the boos. It's her stick.
Getting caught up in her words, like not knowing what to say, like that happens a lot with her.
And just starts freestyling off the top.
She just doesn't know what to say. There was that weird moment where like they kissed each other, and like I don't know if Bobby's skin got on her. Or was he wearing? Well, okay, so he was definitely wearing makeup then, right? If that's what got on her, he was wearing makeup, right?
He must have. I mean, damn, Montez was like, damn, she kissed the black off off Bobby. I was like, god damn.
Like, so they both had each other's makeup on each other, so they looked really goofy for like the whole program. So, Liv Morgan comes out. Now, we'd seen a pre-tape with her earlier in the show saying that, you know, someone had changed her and then they left her basically just left her cold. And she comes out and says, you know, that's the love of my life. I can't allow this person to get married without me saying how I feel. You think it's Bobby? And Bobby's like, I've never touched that white woman.
You're like, come on, guys. Y'all believe this shit? Me? Come on, fellas.
And then she says, no, it's Lana. And at that point, we've entered the
Everybody's like, oh.
We've entered rightfully so. The crowd popped for this. I saw a tweet saying that it was dead. That segment was anything but dead after.
Yeah, the segment, and they realized like, oh, it was such an awkward type of experience. And I was like, there's definitely a huge shock, even if it's not even specifically. It's the fact that it's not Bobby. I don't think we have to go any further and dive into that type of notion other than it's not Bobby. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was the big shock there. And I don't know, man. I really thought that like the way that it was handled shocked a lot of people, and they were very upset about it, and they feel as though a lot of things, one of them being, why does Liv have to be play a lesbian character, and she's not really a lesbian. We don't know if she's not, by the way. We don't know if she is or not. And this isn't even defense. This is literally the truth. Like, we don't know if she is or not. We don't know what these people are into. But also, it's like, I've seen everything say like, well, they need sensitivity classes. They need representation in the writer's room. And it's like, it's a soap opera, right?
I read really good job of showing domestic abuse on USA Network, and I said, okay, is this how far? If you want to say it's terrible shock jock, completely understandable. If you want to think of the superstars that are on the WWE roster that are actually LGBT and could have pulled this off with a storyline a lot better than others could in an area where this is clearly an area just to shock the audience, completely understandable. But using this type of terminology that'll pop, domestic abuse, I completely disagree. Completely disagreed.
Domestic. Okay, so I mean, essentially, Lana attacks Liv, and I guess they're not in a they're not in a relationship anymore. So I guess somebody took that as domestic abuse. This leads Rusev to come out, of course, out of the big cake, attack Bobby, basically destroy him, and then Rusev and Liv stand tall. So we got Liv back, one, right? Let's count all of the positives here, right? Mm-hmm. Liv is back. She's a face, which excellent. This is great. She is a different character than we've seen. We don't know the layers of her yet, right? She is a different character. That's all we know of her right now. She got mic time for the first time probably in what, a year almost?
Pretty much since Riot Squad broke up, or maybe around that time that she fought Charlotte that one time.
She told Charlotte to shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in a, from what I'm seeing, it was like 1.5, 1.6 million people have watched this segment in 24 hours. She's in a money drawing, ratings making opportunity position here, where she can get over without even having to lace her Jordans up.
Yeah.
You love to see it.
It's seeing those type of numbers really proves that the wait for Liv Morgan was not something that was just tongue in cheek. I feel like a lot of people want to see what comes from that after the breakup of the Riot Squad. The only people that we've seen since then, of course, has been Sarah Logan. Ruby Riott, continuing to wait for Ruby Riott to come back. And Liv Morgan, there is just a draw that she has with her audience and her fans that people attach themselves to. And now she has a huge audience that is ready for her to come back. So that really speaks to that 1.5 million as far as everybody waiting for Liv Morgan to come back. But I'm not going to, for me personally, I would not take these last few months and these few weeks that we've had of actual promo from Liv Morgan and look at this wedding segment and say, okay, we're done here.
Yeah. I'm happy for Liv, right? I'm not happy for this segment. I'm not a fan of this segment at all. It was pretty bad. I remain optimistic about where they take Liv, but I remain cautious as to how they handle LGBT things as a whole.
Yeah, I saw Sonya Deville's tweet, and whether or not that is something that was specifically relatable to the wedding itself or something that was personally from the heart of Sonya Deville, I could not blame her for her feelings if it was.
Well, they were going to do a LGBT angle with her on Total
and Mandy Rose.
And Mandy Rose. And on Total Divas, her girlfriend said she wasn't comfortable with that type of angle. So they scrapped it. I don't know what's, again, and this is where we talked about before the show started. It's like people are jumping into conclusions way too quickly here. Yes, it was a terrible angle, but everything about this has been terrible. But people are watching it anyway, right? But I feel like a lot of fans again, it's like I can see some critics they have some really valid points. Absolutely. I read a lot of reviews where I'm like, this is cool. But I'm talking about like social media. It's like a lot of these people just are they fans of just how stupid this shit is? Like this wrestling is stupid. Okay, like it is stupid, and stupid things like this happen, but people are drawn to these car crash mess of this, and I question my sanity. Yes, because I thought we were over this, but Paul Heyman just knows how to do this so well that it's like doesn't matter if it's awful. He knows how to make people watch it, and I think that it again like happy for Liv, but we'll see what happens next week. And if in 4 weeks I'm looking at this and saying, well, you know what, it was a terrible angle and they paid it off with even worse stuff, then we're going to have a conversation about it. But
it's a possibility. Yeah.
But this is again, another, opportunity for them to stretch out Rusev and Bobby Lashley because they know, man, they absolutely know what
people like watching bad television sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it is what it is. Oh crap! I won second place in the most annoying category.
Who won?
JD from NY 206.
No idea what that is.
Yeah, it's some racist from. I guess the
you didn't do worse than a racist, so that's a positive.
Yeah, because I'm not a racist. I got 154 votes, so I feel like I could have got more votes. Hold on, I definitely could have got more votes. Y'all some bitches. There you go. I'll tweet it out.
I lost. What the fuck? Next up is the three was a Prime Corbin.
Who's Prime Corbin?
Prime Corbin with 82 votes.
Who is that?
Is this a profile? I don't think this is a profile photo.
This is whack. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So that is the last Raw of 2019. This is the final A-Show recording of 2019.
Yes,
but it is the first episode of 2020. Thank you all for listening to the show. And thank you, Marc, for joining me on the show this week. I look forward to so many things next year with you. I Am Not a Genius going off, RSPN ringing off. Man, Overly Medicated coming back.
I am highly ready for this Overly Medicated review. I've seen some conversations of euphoria for these past few weeks. I think it needs a little bit of an extra touch to it.
I mean, Drake confirmed season 2 is coming, so I think that it's only right that we bring out the green awards, we open up the book, we grab the trophies, we hand them out next year, and we also hand out so much more content on RNC Radio. We just had a new premiere, and a bonus really from our homeboys X and Van.
Yes, sir.
Their new comic show. We're going to withhold the name real quick because we're going to give them a full rollout, but they wanted to get something out for you guys before 2020, and they put out their bonus episode of their podcast this week featuring their thoughts on a lot of things that happened in the final half of 2019, as well as their favorite comic book movie and comic book moments of the decade. So make sure you check that out on the RNC Radio Live Network. But you also have Spot Callers with myself and Cyrus, where we reviewed December 2, Dismember 2006, as well as the War Report, where MJ and Cyrus give out their reviews and their awards for NXT and AEW for their first quarter of their live shows. And yeah, there you have it. Thank you guys for listening to us. Follow us at RNC Radio Live. Follow me at OGJohnny5. Please vote for me for most annoying on wrestling Twitter, please. Like, how did I lose that? Like, what do you mean? I live for these people.
You know what I think will get us? I think will get us more votes. More votes. What? I think what we'll have to do for Overly Medicated. Let's take the same scenario that Elliot Wilson and B-Dot had with Drake and do 2 hours on Euphoria.
Oh my God, that'll actually
just set up two green awards right in front of Jay and just be like, all right, so let's discuss McKay. How did you feel when? How do you feel we didn't want to drink the fish? And then just have Drake's complete opinion on it. We'll ask him about Nate. It'll be a 2-hour conversation on Euphoria.
It'll be excellent. That would get more hate than anything. And I think shout out to everyone this year for checking out the show, for giving us advice, for being on the show. Of course, Marc, of course, Ben Coyle, X, Big Tim,
Quan, Chris Novak, Cyrus, of course, Stat Guy Greg, Jeff J. Thanks to Emilio Sparks, who gives us a lot of great advice, especially like just telling us to move to our own network. Shout out to Cash. Shout out to everybody that shows the A Show love every single week when we put the show out. It's not easy to do. It's very, very tough, but we make it happen every single week. And until next week, thank you guys for listening. Happy New Year. We're back next week with Meals, talking about the latest and greatest in professional wrestling. Until then, peace out. And in the place of Meals, happy Rusev Day.